Well, good evening, everyone. As I said 2 minutes ago, my name is Christina Cano. I've been a board member on the PSS board since 2015, and I've watched it grow and change in remarkable ways that make this city a better place to be. On behalf of the entire board, I'd like to welcome you to this evening's festivities. And these festivities have newly been named PSS Honors to reflect the broad spectrum of honor-worthy work being done in the field of aging. Thank you so much for coming to celebrate with us tonight. And now, without further ado, here is our board president, Martha Ferry.
Thank you, Christina. And welcome to everyone who's here. We have a different venue this year. It's okay? Not quite. We're done. We're in a slightly different venue. Lots of fun to have a change. My charge this evening is to welcome you and say thank you, particularly to our generous patrons and sponsors. So I would like to recognize Joan and Reed Ryan, who are here in front of me, our patrons. Guardians, I'll ask you to hold applause till the end. We unfortunately this year have a number of them. Best Choice Home Healthcare, GC Leader Construction, Hyatt Computer, Integra Managed Care, Candell and Son Incorporated, Margaret McClure, who also is one of our board members, and Rutgers Presbyterian Church, provides us with lots and lots of support, including in the person of Mark Young, who helped very strongly to organize this evening. So thank you to all of you. In your programs, you will find a list of other contributors and friends who are with us this evening. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Remus Jasmine, who is the Executive Director for PSS, who's going to bring you up to date on our doings this past year. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha, and welcome everybody. We at PSS are so very proud of the fact that we directly impact the lives of 1,000 different people every single day. Whether it's the several hundred grandparents, grandchildren, or older adults that live in our 2 apartment buildings, the hundreds of seniors that attend our senior centers, from the many people attending one of our educational programs going on throughout the city, or the family caregivers we serve in all 5 boroughs. PSS is proud to be the difference in their lives every single day. And for most people, that would be a good day's work. But what I love about the staff at PSS is they're always striving to do more, to work more effectively, have a greater impact, and do the very best that they can. And they demonstrate that fantastic attitude every single day. For example, last week our outreach staff worked with the Afghani women in a community to help them address some of their their unique needs. Anya and her center staff are now preparing for the graduation of the next PSS Life University graduate, which are older adults who have completed our unique curriculum of courses, fitness, and volunteering. Coming of age, Pam Ransom is here, is building a community of people who want to live with passion and purpose. And she's actually got 4 special events scheduled for May. And just this afternoon, she was at the UN, presenting to the UN Committee on Aging on the importance of purpose in later life. That's Cynthia Stewin's group. Cynthia, where's Cynthia? Who was actually last year's Maggie Kuhn awardee. So, Cynthia, thank you for having us there. And we're also working with the Chinese Chamber of Commerce to bring our services to the residents of Chinatown. And we're working very closely with Robin Fenley at DIFTA. Where's DIFTA? To make sure that the respite funding that's available for family caregivers is spent and put into the hands of the caregivers who need it. And we're doing all of that on top of everything else that we do. So I want to give a real hearty round of applause to our wonderful staff. If they could just stand or wave their hands. And in particular, I also want to thank Michelle Arnaud, who planned this event, and Kevin Boyette, who's behind me in charge of all the great audio visuals that you've been enjoying this evening so far and yet to come. These are just a few examples of how the dedicated and compassionate staff of PSS push so very hard to deliver the very best service and programming that they can every single day. But from the examples I gave, you notice that we talked a lot about our partners in the community. And that's the one thing that's very true. We could not do what we do alone, and we could not do it without the partners that we have. And that's what tonight is all about. Tonight's all about our opportunity to recognize some of the great partners that we've been working with. And to get that part of the program going, I'd like to invite Joan Ryan up. Joan Ryan is a past president of PSS. She's been involved with numerous organizations, and she's actually one of the Maggie Kuhn awardees from 2013. So, Joan.
I just did something to the video. I'm sorry. It is a real pleasure to be here tonight. And it is my job right now to introduce the video that you're about to see. It's an explanation of, and an introduction, if you don't already know her, of Maggie Kuhn and why we honor people in her name. And the other part of the video is an introduction to you, if you don't already know her, of Margaret and why she so deserves the Maggie Kuhn Award.
Since 1995, PSS has been presenting the Maggie Kuhn Award to an outstanding individual or organization that exemplified the vision, spirit, and ideals of Maggie Kuhn. Born in Buffalo in 1905, Maggie Kuhn spent most of her childhood in Cleveland and later in Memphis. After majoring in English at Case Western Reserve University, her interest in social activism soon became apparent. During the 1930s, Maggie worked for the YWCA, where she was often criticized for teaching women about unionizing, women's issues, and social justice. In the 1940s, she brought that same unconventional approach to her work for the USO. Wherever she went, Maggie challenged the status quo, such as starting a human sexuality class and encouraging women to study their own lives and their own world. During the 1950s and 60s, Maggie Kuhn worked for the Presbyterian Church in New York City, where she encouraged seminary students to go out and work directly with those living in poverty. In 1970, Maggie, who was then living in Philadelphia, turned 65 and found herself confronting the mandatory retirement law then in effect. She soon banded together with other retirees and in that very year formed the Grey Panthers movement. Seeing all issues of injustice as inevitably linked, Maggie and her Grey Panthers refused to restrict themselves to just elder rights activism, but focused also on peace, politics, poverty, and civil liberties. Maggie and the Grey Panthers gave a voice to not only older adults, but to all those who found themselves disengaged, marginalized, and forgotten. Over the years, the Grey Panthers movement grew, inspiring people across the country to join the good fight. With the motto of Age and Youth in Action, the movement attracted younger people as well, including high school and college students. Maggie believed that youth should be taken more seriously and given more responsibility by society. In 1992, Maggie became an advisor and consultant to PSS. When she died in 1995 at the age of 89, PSS was granted approval by the executor of her estate to create the Maggie Kuhn Award. And since then, the Maggie Kuhn Award has been presented annually. While the names and the faces of these worthy recipients changed every year, there remains one common denominator. Their leadership and impact on the community has been consistently of the highest caliber, reflecting what this amazing woman, Maggie Kuhn, was all about. This year's recipient of the Maggie Kuhn Award is Councilmember Margaret Kuhn. In 2010, Margaret Kuhn joined the New York City Council as a representative for District 1 in Lower Manhattan. She has served as the chair of the Council's Committee on Aging, as well as a member of the Committees on Education, Youth Services, Rules, and Transportation. In addition to co-chairing the Women's Caucus, she is a founding member of the Progressive Caucus and belongs to the Black, Latino, and Asian Caucus. Prior to becoming a council member, Margaret worked at Asian Americans for Equality, an organization that she helped form while in college. At AAFE, she fought for affordable housing, as well as equal opportunities for immigrant families. Even before taking office, Ms. Kuhn successfully fought to get bilingual ballots for the Asian community. In her life and in her service to New York City, Councilmember Kuhn exhibits the same tenacity and advocacy exemplified by Maggie Kuhn. PSS salutes Margaret Kuhn for her tireless efforts to fight for and advocate for the members of her community, and we are proud to add Ms. Kuhn to the roster of honorees who demonstrate the same vision and ideals of Maggie Kuhn.
I think we have another Maggie Kuhn. Margaret, would you please come up? Can you see? We need to move.
Yes.
It is my great honor to present Margaret Kuhn with the 2018 Maggie Kuhn Award.
Wow. Thank you, Joe. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am so honored to receive the PSS Circle of Care 2018 Maggie Kuhn Award. Even though my name is Margaret, my grandfather, who was a World War II veteran, came to this country when he was a teenager. He calls me Maggie. So only close family members calls me Maggie. And wow, what a coincidence, right? But I first wanted to thank everyone at the PSS Circle of Care, all the board members, the staff, and of course including Remus Jason and Michelle Arnott for your strong support in nominating me for this award. You know, advocating for the 1.5 million seniors across the city as chair of the Committee on Aging is one of the most distinct privileges I have in the City Council. It was a privilege to fight for a historic $22.9 million of permanent funding for our caregivers and our senior centers as part of our Year of the Senior campaign last year. And you know, that doesn't sound like a lot, but the seniors budget in the Department for the Aging, Robin, right? It's less than 0.5% of the city's $88 billion budget. So we still have a very, very long way to go. Receiving this award, named after the legendary Maggie Kuhn, highlights so much of the work I am doing with the aging advocates. You know, Maggie advocated strongly to reform the nursing home system and fight ageism after she was forced to retire after the age of 65 due to a mandatory retirement rule. This idea that our seniors today are a burden to our society must change. You know, the idea that seniors only contribute to a growing Medicare budget or an increase in need for services, that needs to change. Yes, we seniors may need a little help from our senior center or home care agencies, But these programs are still only less than 0.5% of our city's $88 billion budget. But we are much more than the services that we need. We are consumers who shop locally, we build up our small businesses, we are caregivers to our elderly parents or to our grandchildren so that our kids can go to work. And we are volunteers and activists and voters who keep the wheels of democracy turning. Seniors like me and many of you are vital to this vibrant city, and it is an honor to be your champion. Once again, I wanted to thank you all for this award, and let's go to work to change this narrative and celebrate the contribution of our seniors that are making every day. So thank you again for this honor, and thank you to PSS Circle of Care for all the great work that you do for our senior and caregiver. And we got more work to do. Thank you very much.